On this week's episode, is it the players or Amorim that should be blamed for the Everton shambles? We induct another Manchester United legend into our Hall of Fame. There's a look ahead to the tricky fixture at Selhurst Park as Manchester United take on Crystal Palace. And we have another dip into the Gummers Mailbag to answer your questions. All this and much more on Fergie's Gum, a Manchester United podcast. Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine and I'm joined as a front three by Mr. Paul Cropper and Ahmad Dohair. They're back. How you doing, gents? How you doing, Ahmad? It's been a while. How you doing, mate?
All good. Yeah, I thought I have to show up on this podcast after the disaster that we've watched. So yeah, I have a lot that I want to let out.
Oh God, right, okay, fair. That sounds interesting. Well, we'll get straight into it then. But before we do start, I wanted to ask you this: rank these all-time stinkers under Ruben Amorim in order, with number one being the worst. I'll start with you, Paul. Grimsby, Spurs in Bilbao, and Everton at Old Trafford.
Bloody hell. That's difficult to do, isn't it? I thought the last game was the worst game I've seen under Ruben Amorim, so I'm going to go with that top. And then Spurs was just drab on it, and then Grimsby was Onana. So, yeah, I'll go 1, 2, 3 like that.
The Onana game. Go on then, Ahmad. How do you rank those?
I'd put Spurs as the worst, Everton after it, and then Grimsby.
Fair. Okay. I'd probably put the Grimsby game first, just because I thought it was a complete capitulation. Then I'd go Spurs and then the Everton one. But as you said, right at the top there, Ahmad, that Everton result and the performance was enough to kind of spark a lot of debate amongst Manchester United fans. It brought up all the old questions again. It had Ruben Amorim questioning himself, questioning the players, saying he fears that the old feelings from last season are coming back again. But the first thing I wanted to ask is, who do you think this is on? Is it the players? Is it Amorim? Or is it both?
Who are we going to?
Well, I said Ahmad at the beginning. It's all right,
yeah.
Ahmad.
Okay.
It's okay.
I put on Amorim mainly, honestly. So
Interesting.
on Amorim because I'm sure we're gonna get into the game and like the smaller details of what happened. But I think playing against 10 man, sometimes, as he said, like the players didn't know what to do and when to do it, and like the whole game plan changed and everything. But as a manager, there's a lot you can do when you're playing against 10 men at home for like around 80 minutes. So for me, it's on Amorim.
How do you feel about that, Paul? Because you've been a big, strong supporter of Ruben Amorim. I think that's well documented across these podcasts. But how do you feel about that? Who do you pin the blame on here?
I pin a bit mostly on the players, but Amorim has to take some of the blame for not changing, for not doing more, I think. So you can't send your players out there with a plan and then they can't make 5-yard passes and then blame the manager. But I think Amorim could have done a lot more. If you go down to 10 men at this level, if you're playing against 10 men, the players should already know what to do. The plan should already be set out. And it felt like the players had no idea what to do against 10 men, so they just stuck with what they were told to do. No, that should already be done in training. If they get a man sent off, this is how we play. And I don't think they had that on.
I think that's interesting because it was one of the points that I kind of picked up on. I only ever watched the extended highlights. I know both of you boys probably watched the entire 90 minutes. But the thing that struck me was that a great leader, so if I know we keep going back to like Sir Alex Ferguson, but there's plenty of really good top coaches out there. A great leader, whether he's on the pitch or not, you have an idea of what it is that he wants from you. So there was two things that I was thinking about. The first one was, it looked like they hadn't trained 10 versus 11 for in training, like that scenario just never got brought up, or they were scared to do the things that they thought would win the game because Amorim would have been really annoyed with them. And it's this little grey area, Ahmad, that I think will always be an issue between who we pin the blame on here. Is it the players? Is it Ruben Amorim? But when you look at how are they actually performing on the pitch? I know he's not there. He can't play the passes that they're playing. He can't see the players that they're seeing out there making the runs. But if he is a great leader, as Paul just mentioned, shouldn't they know what they need to do? Shouldn't they know what things will win that game without him having to tell them to change it?
Of course, you'd expect that from most of them are international players and they're captains of their national teams and they're players with experience like Casemiro, Bruno, Buemo, all these players. You expect them to know what to do even if the manager didn't tell them what to do. But I think sometimes it's tough playing against 10 men, honestly. I think it becomes tougher for a team to play against 10 men than 11 because then your whole game plan changes and the opposition with 10 men, they just sit deep and they don't need to attack, especially when they score a goal. They sit back, they crowd the box. So I do think the players should have done more, and I do think that uh, you have to blame the players a bit. But for me, it's still like on Amram, he said himself that he couldn't get his message across to the players and what to do and when to do it. But again, like my biggest issue is that he's stuck with three at the back. Like you're playing against a man, and why do you have to have three players at the back? And Everton were playing 4-4-1, so literally they had no attack. So there's no reason to have three center backs like on the halfway line. So that's my main issue. Um, and it's just the way we went about it. Everything I thought everything was wrong, and if the game went on for another 1 hour, 2 hours, we were never gonna score.
But it is strange, though, that they didn't seem to have any passion in their game either. Like, they looked kind of clueless out there, Paul. They were just kind of going through the motions is what it looked like. There were a few chances. There were a few from Mbuemo. Xerxes had a header that was saved as well. But other than that, it just seemed like they just ran out of gas and enthusiasm for it. And I can't really put it down to personnel because it was the entire team. And even before Idrissa Gueye got sent off, they were getting battered anyway. They were already getting hammered, and it looked like they were going to lose that game. So, is there still a disconnect between Amorim's ideas and what the players are actually doing? Can it be fixed? Do we just need to throw more players at it? Like, what's the answer here?
I don't think it's any coincidence that it's the same players that we're going to talk about. There's 4 or 5 players I've put the names down there. They'd like to Luke Shaw. They all started like they were half asleep. That's with the first 5-10 minutes, Everton were the better team, and they carried on to be the better team for the first half, even when they went down to 10 men. The United couldn't handle the 3 10s that they had. Just couldn't handle. They were just all over them. They kept the ball better. They're more confident. United started the game with the back 3 playing square passes, and I don't know where that's come from. We stopped going direct. The goalkeeper started going short. Whether that's because Xerxes couldn't hold the ball up, I'm not sure, because we've not done that all season when Sesko's been playing. But if you start that way in a Premier League game, you're going to get dominated, and that's not the way. It's not the right attitude to start a game with, and I think that's what came across. They all looked. Do you know what they look like? They look like as if we needed a player from our team to go around and give them all a slap like Idrissa Gueye did to his teammate, just to wake them all up. That's how they started the game, half asleep. Yeah, ridiculous performance.
I think there's definitely a conversation to be had about leaders on the pitch, because Casemiro's been brilliant. And I mean, we praised him on the last podcast, Paul, when we was talking about him getting back to his form and becoming instrumental and putting in legs next to him with like a João Gomez or someone like that we've been linked to. And then he goes and drops a game like that. And he's got that in his locker, unfortunately. He'll have a stinker, he'll get a stupid foul, and he'll get hooked early, which is exactly what happened. And he just kind of goes right back to the drawing board. But you talked there about like individual players, and I know you love making a list. So I know you've got a list of players. But in terms of the personnel that was out on the pitch, Ahmad, was there anyone that you thought that completely let Ruben Amorim down?
No, I wouldn't say that there's a specific player that like let Amorim down, because it was a collective effort to fail. Honestly, it was more than one player. I think Shaw didn't have his best game. I think Euro had a stinker. Honestly, I think Euro had one of his worst games that I've watched ever since he came.
Can I interject here for just a second? And I know this is going to sound controversial, but I still don't rate Lenny Yoro.
He's been poor all
Like-
season. All season he's been poor.
And I think even last season he was as well. And it's something that's been a concern. Like, he's not aggressive enough. He's a Rolls Royce of a defender. But I'm just personally, and we can talk about this more after you finished, Ahmad, but I'm still not convinced by Lenny Yoro. I don't think he's the answer in the system. I think maybe he'd be better in a 2 than a 3, but I fear that we're going to break him.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that, honestly. I think we're gonna get into that afterwards. But yeah, like in general, Mazraoui, honestly, but I don't blame Mazraoui, because I always say it's not his position to play right wing back. It's not his game. Dorgu, honestly, like that's a big issue. Big issue. Like in this system, again, we keep on saying that over and over again. In this system, you need to have specialist wing backs. I don't know, like there are only specific players in the world, I think, that can actually play that system and play it so well, so that the team can function properly. And we don't have that at all. So yeah, Dorgu, Bruno didn't have his best game. Casemiro didn't have his best game. Boem was not on it, honestly, at all. And Xerxes, he's rusty. Ahmad, he tried. I don't know why he's playing him off the left. It's just, again, like, it's gonna go back. If I want to keep on going, eventually the conclusion is gonna be that it goes back to the manager. So yeah.
Yeah, very, very true. Now, you did talk about someone there, and he's in my notes as well. Patrick Dorgu. I've long backed him, saying that, he will come good. He's got the athletic ability. He is very raw, but you can see what he does for Denmark. I know he scored in that defeat to Scotland the other night, but you can see what he does when he's playing with confidence. My issue now with Dorgu, and I can't back him anymore because he's turning in performances like that. My issue with Dorgu is, what did the scouting department see in him when they initially picked him up for Amorim's system? Because whatever it was that said he's going to be perfect for this role, clearly isn't there. It's not there. The more games that you get with Dorgu playing, yes, he's full of energy. Yes, he doesn't get beat. Yes, he's great in one-on-one duels. So was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But we didn't keep him because he couldn't offer anything going forward. And it just it does make me wonder, like, what's going on with Dorgu. I assume he's on your list, Paul, as one of the players that you thought let him down.
Yeah, well, it's a list of 11. Ha! Just numbered how bad they are. Yeah, of course he is. Because he was terrible, wasn't it? His end product was terrible. And like Emma said, those wing back positions are so big in this formation that it needs to be improved. But you can't. I mean, you didn't see the game, Nathan, did you? But there was a point where it cut to the bench and they were all shaking their head after what Dorgu had just done. And then it's like, right, get him off. But then when you change it, who do you bring on? I know Ahmad saying it comes down to the manager. No, I think it comes down to the frailties of the squad, because Diallo wouldn't be in the team. Neither would Dorgu. Neither would Mazraoui if we had a squad that was better. And it's going to take time now, unfortunately, just to improve that squad. But you can't be dropping 3 or 4s out of 10s and expecting to play at Man United. Unfortunately, he will, because there's nobody else to take his place.
But then when we go back to, as Ahmad said, when we go back to that, the big question about square pegs, round holes with this squad, like, we haven't got the players that are good enough for it. January is unlikely that we're going to go on a spending spree, even though I do recommend that that's what they do. But if we need to get the best out of what we've got now to achieve European position, that's the only way that you can see this season as being a success, I would say, or a trophy, FA Cup maybe. If you're going to try and achieve that, something has to change. You can't just keep going on and doing the same thing. So you either you change the squad by spending loads and gambling on the fact that you're going to make Europe and you'll make that money back next year, next season, or you look at the team and you go, right, okay, yeah, they can't do that. Mazraoui, traditional right back, going to play two. They're going to play four at the back. We're going to go back to a traditional 4-3-3, and we're going to just try and get some results to get us back up the table. I understand what you're saying in terms of this is his philosophy, but in terms of like the rigidity of it, it'll cost him in the end, surely, right?
I mean, yeah, like I think if you want to consider like changing the system or whatever, then you have to change the manager. Honestly, that's the only way, because nothing's gonna change. Either you back the manager in January and you get them like 3-4 players that instantly improve the system and instantly improve the performances, or you change the manager, because nothing's gonna change just by asking the manager to go back to a back four or something. That's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen.
But I mean, Jason Wilcox did come out and say that he does prefer the 4-3-3. That's what he prefers in terms of a formation. It's what Manchester City used under Guardiola. He was there during that evolution, and he knows the power of it to take on the Premier League. I know Pep's kind of changed that now with like moving forward, but look at their results. You know, they've lost two in their last two. They got beat last night, and they got beat at the weekend as well. I think that. Well, I'll ask you the question, Paul. Does he deserve to have like 200 million spent in January to just try and fix this? Or do you think he just has to bite the bullet and go, right, okay, here we go. We're going to start as this formation, but as soon as we start, it's 4-3-3.
It's a pointless conversation, Nathan, because he won't change. He just won't change from that system. He's sticking to his guns, isn't it? Whether or not we feel like 4-3-3 is the right way to go and that's how we enjoy football, this is why he's been brought in. He's been brought in to bring his philosophy in. And we've had this conversation before. But if you don't back him in January, if you don't bring him a wing back, another striker, and a centre midfielder, if you don't do that, then we're going to have a season almost identical to last season. So it's going to be on the owners now to put their hands in their pockets and say, right, this is what we need. This is what we've done. There you go. And then if that doesn't work out, you're looking at the end of the season, aren't you? If we finish below 10th, because it's still top 8, top 10 is where we should be aiming. Because no matter what formation you play, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, whatever you play with, some of these players, like I said a few podcasts ago, the bottom half Premier League players, the likes of Xerxes, the likes of Luke Shaw, we know they're not good enough. We just know that, don't we? So no matter where you put them, doesn't matter. They're not good enough. Simple.
I think beyond the actual formation, and we can sit here and talk about formation changes and philosophies all day long. I think the most depressing part of this was the fact that there was no fight perceivable. Like, it just didn't look like they cared about it at all. Doesn't matter what formation you put them in, it's just going through the motions and not really playing for the badge and kind of just expecting that something could happen. There were individual mistakes, I will say that as well. I didn't think Xerxes did himself any favours by just standing there. It just made it so easy for Trakowski and Michael Keane to deal with him. Like, I know he tried to make a few different runs, but it's just not in his locker to do that. He's more of a 10 that links the play going forward. I don't think he's like an out-and-out striker at all. I think he can work in that system, but he just needs better players around him. Would have been interesting to see what Cunha would have done alongside him, whether or not they would have cooked up something, and then put Ahmad at right wing back, where he's obviously been more productive this season, especially with him in Bruno, who he's had that formation with. Senna Lamans, you talked about this before, Paul. Foot position.
Yeah.
When he got beat for that Welbeck free kick when Brighton came to Old Trafford, he did it again.
Yes, he did.
He wasn't set for the Dewsbury Hall goal, and he got his hand to it, but it was a weak hand because he was already off balance going the other way. And I just wonder if it's, if we're going to keep getting these individual mistakes and we're going to keep getting these, like, where they all just seemingly down tools, Ahmad, like, what is the answer moving forward? Because we've got AFCON coming up and we need results. And we would have, every one of us looked at this Everton game after the international break and the fixtures afterwards, right, we should be getting 13, 14 points out of those next games. Like, what do we do from this point? What do you
I
think the
honest,
answer is?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know because, like you said, like when you looked at this run of games that we had, especially after the results that we had before the international break, you look at this and you're like, okay, Everton is winnable. Palace away, maybe like we can get a draw. And then you look West Ham at home. I don't know. We have like different fixtures that we should be winning and going on a run. But then you started with losing to Everton at home, especially after the results that happened on the weekend. Like it was a big chance for us. I, I don't think the players are up for it as well. Like, okay, I keep on saying that it's on the manager, but some of those players, they're not up for it. Like, I want to say Bruno. I don't know why. Like, I love Bruno and everything, but sometimes I feel that when the responsibility, like when the team has to do well or like they have to take a chance and like win a game so that they jump up the table, Bruno seems to feel more pressure and he doesn't seem to deal with it well. He seems to want to do everything himself and he feels that everything, all the pressure is on his shoulders. And I think that trickles into the other players as well. And it becomes just rigid. That's what I felt on Monday as well. That was one of the things that I wanted to speak about. Bruno, he was trying to score. He was trying to shoot like from way out, and he had good shots. But he's not that player to grab the game and keep control, keep their heads, and just tell the players like just okay, keep calm. We have like I don't know 70, 60 minutes left. Just we can just do what we know, like what we're practice, like what we're meant to do. And I think that's also something that should be looked at, honestly.
I think Bruno looks around at the players that he's playing with and he's like, these lads are awful. These are dreadful. Because he's provided match-winning moments since he's joined the club. Easily our best signing in the last decade, I would argue. And he's looked around at those players and he's seen what he can do. And he's like, well, I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to do it because I can't just let these lads get the ball. We've all played with players like that. Give me the ball, I'll do it. I'll sort this. I'll shoot from 25 yards. So I do understand that that's like an issue, but I can't blame Bruno for it. He probably thought when he first signed for Manchester United that he was going to be, and he probably was told this as well. We're gonna build a team around you, and he's watched players come and go that have been substandard for most top 10 teams. Never mind Manchester United. So it's difficult for me to jump on that, to jump on Bruno in that circumstance. I know, Paul, you've got some strong opinions on this as well, right?
Yes, I just felt like Bruno was frustrating me as well because he was standing next to De Ligt 2 yards away from him. Give me the ball. No, go somewhere else. Let De Ligt do that job. What's the point in having De Ligt there? So, this is where I'm going to put a bit of blame on the manager as well. An easy change to make would have been take Lenny Yoro off and put Bruno in that right-hand side of the defence. Just if he's going to go and stand next to him anyway, put him there and let him do that. Bring a forward on. But this is once again the frailties of the squad. You mentioned Cunha there. When Cunha's not in the team, the quality level drops, doesn't it? We look at the bench. Where's your forwards? What other forwards can we bring on? We've got young Shea Lacey there. You're not going to bring him on and say could do something for his kid. You're not going to do it. Manchester United cannot have no strikers on the bench. It's not good enough to have a squad like that. But yeah, look, Bruno, like to go back to Ahmad's point there, it was very frustrating. He did it in the cup final against Spurs. Start trying to play wonder balls, trying to whip 40-yard passes. That's not how you win a game of football against 10 men. You keep the ball and you keep them moving sideways. You keep the ball going. Unfortunately, when he's putting it out wide, the players that he's giving it to are just not good enough. Ahmad tried his best when he went out there, didn't he? And he cuts in and crosses the ball. But that's all we've got. There doesn't seem like there's any other plan. We've got to give it out wide, let Ahmad Onbumo cut in and cross it. Where else is the attacking plan? If that's all we've got from the manager for the past year, that's not good enough. No, there needs to be something more to our attacking development, because that's just not creative, is it? Frustrating. Yeah, frustrating.
One issue as well, and we'll obviously wrap this up in a second because I think everything's been said that needs to be said about the Everton result. But the one thing that kind of got to me was that before the game, Ruben Amorim talked up how much he trusts the academy, and like, you know, that this is where we'll have to go into. There's plenty of players that can step up into it. I felt, and obviously, as you say, Shea Lacey's not going to come on and change the game. But given the fact that they are down to 10 men, you need something new. You need to try something. That would have been an opportunity to try and bring him on for 10 minutes and just see what could happen. I just felt after that game, rightly or wrongly, that those words were pretty hollow. Like, oh yeah, we'll expect the academy players to step up. Where's Chido Obi? Do you know what I mean? Wasn't even on the bench. And there's no one after him. It's Xerxes, Sesko, and that's it. Like, there is no one after him. Shea Lacey was on the bench. Was it Jack Fletcher that was on the bench a couple of days ago? And that was, you know, and that's it. And in fact, there was one last thing I did want to talk about. Let's just briefly. Kobbie Mainoo. We've all wanted him to be on the pitch. We've all wanted him to start. We've all wanted it to work out for him. He's not been good enough, has he, Ahmad?
Honestly, I thought he was alright when he came on. Like, he was okay. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, he was moving the ball, he was keeping possession. But he's
But
rusty. I wouldn't expect anything from him.
that's it. So it's not a case of he's done anything wrong. I'm not saying that he did anything wrong at all. But when you bring someone on that has been like, you know, kind of this caged animal that is going to come out on the pitch and he's going to grab it by the scruff of the neck, and it's time for him to get his chance and it's time for him to do something. I think he is now in this weird little world where safety first, where he doesn't do any mistakes, is his that's going to be how he plays from now on until he's back in the first team, because he just doesn't want to get dropped. He wants to show that he can be a safe pair of hands, and I think that's it. And I don't think I think he may have had the flair coached out of him. I think he's trying to be a traditional 6, as he's been told to do. So when he comes on, he's just a bit flat.
Yeah, you
I
can't
thought he
blame him.
looked lost. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on, Ahmad.
No, go on. Like, I just want to say, like, on Nathan's point, like, you can't blame him for doing that, because he's not getting enough minutes, and when he is getting minutes, he needs to show like, he doesn't want to do a mistake. Like, he came against Brentford and he lost the ball, and like, if he does something like that again, he's never gonna start, and the pressure is gonna pile up. So yeah, that's.
But isn't that when you've got to have the cojones? Isn't that the whole thing about playing for Manchester United, playing at elite level? You have to be that player that goes, right, okay, I'm going to make something happen. You can't just come on and be like, right, okay, I'm just going to help us keep the ball. Like, you have to come on and be like, right, okay, what we're doing? Right, I've noticed this from the bench. This lad's not getting there. That player's not going over there. I've seen him make that run numerous times. I'm going to get him. I'm going to hit him on this one. I'm going to do something that's different. Safety first against 10-man Everton is not going to win you the game. So for me, that's disappointing for him to come on. I'm glad Ugarte didn't get on the pitch because he's rubbish. But Mainoo is the player that we're all thinking, right, you got to come on and do something. And he didn't take his opportunity. He might get another one against Crystal Palace, and we'll talk about that later. But if you're coming on to boost your stat pad, stat padding stats, stat padding, with like completing 100 passes and they're all sideways, then, you know, forget it, get off. Don't need you.
Yeah, I thought he looked lost when he came on, Mainoo. It's not easy to come on, like Ahmad said right at the start, against 10 men. It's not easy to do that, and there wasn't a lot of space in the 8 or the 10 wherever he was asked to play, because I've no idea where he was asked to play, because he would just go in here. He would just go in where there was a little bit of space, which there wasn't any. I just wanted to say before you wrap it up, Nathan, I thought Everton deserve credit because it's a deserved win for them.
Yeah.
Started the game.
Yeah.
They started the game with the right attitude. Credit to the manager. And Ndiaye, whatever, he is top. He is top class, that lad. He would have done something if he was in a red shirt, because you could see that he had the appetite for the game. He had the confidence, he had the ability, and he had the passion. So yeah, congratulations.
First time Everton have won, well, David Moyes has won a game at Manchester United at Old Trafford in 17 attempts, and the first time that Manchester United have lost a game at Old Trafford to a club that have gone 10 then. So yeah, records there, unwanted ones by Manchester United. It's that time of the month where we induct a new Manchester United player into the Fergie Scum Hall of Fame. We've had Eric Cantona, and we've also had, who was the other player?
Roy Keane.
It was Roy Keane.
Legend.
I was testing you. I didn't forget.
Of course you was.
Making sure. But this person that's being inducted today is, well, the very definition of a one-club man. He won the lot between his debut in 1990 and his retirement in 2014. 13 Premier League titles, 4 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, 9 Community Shields, 2 Champions Leagues, 1 UEFA Super Cup, 1 Intercontinental Cup, 1 FIFA Club World Cup. 963 appearances for Manchester United, which is the most for Manchester United ever. 161 goals in that time, puts him 7th on the United's all-time scorers list. He's got 632 assists for Manchester United. That's 239 more than second place Wayne Rooney. 162 assists in the Premier League, which puts him top of that in the Premier League era. And he also holds the prestige for being the oldest player to ever score at the Olympic Summer Games. We can only be talking about this man.
A rather weary one from Vieira. Giggs gets past Vieira, past Dixon, who comes back at him. It's a wonderful run from Giggs! Sensational goal from Ryan Giggs in the second period of extra time. He's cut Arsenal to ribbons, and the team with 10 men go back in front 2-1.
It's not lost on me there, but he said the team of 10 men come back to win 2-1 in that famous FA Cup semi-final. We could have done with a bit of that at Everton at the weekend, but of course we're talking about Ryan Giggs. He's missed out on the official Premier League Hall of Fame. He hasn't been inducted into that yet. I'm sure there's reasons for off-pitch stuff that he may or may not have been involved in, but he's definitely going into the Fergie Scum Hall of Fame. We shall overlook it in favour of the fact that he is a Manchester United legend. What a player, right, Paul?
Brilliant, wasn't he? He was brilliant. He's the reason we all fell in love with wingers, into Ryan Giggs. He's literally the reason why we at United love wingers. Ability, agility, pace, confidence. He started when he was 17, didn't he? I mean, you say 1990 was his debut, when it?
Yeah.
So he's throughout my youth, he was an ever-present all the way through to adulthood. And he was always there, always played, always produced. Like you said, when you go through what he's won, it's unbelievable. Nobody will get close to that. Nobody will even touch what Ryan Giggs achieved. Whether, like you say, whether you like him as a person, that's a completely different what we're talking about here. But what he was, his pace was the same when he had the ball. Normally, because he was lightning, Ryan Giggs, when he first came through. But he could run with the ball at exactly the same pace. And fullbacks hated playing against. The night before, they must have got zero sleep. Cross the ball. Winger on the right side. He was left-footed, playing on the left-hand side, which I don't know about you, Nathan, but these inverted wingers cutting in and crossing and shooting does my... No, cross the ball, please. Do that. You can't say any more about how good he was, other than can't think of an out-and-out winger ever that was as good as Ryan Giggs.
I think that's a fair point. I think that is a fair point. He also, as part of that, and you touched on it then, running with the ball as quick as he did without it was a trait that most wingers just can't do now. Most players can't do now. But the interesting part about it was that he wasn't this like Ronaldinho style tricks here and there to get past players. It was a drop of the shoulder, a slight of his like body movement, and the players were gone. And it obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson coined the famous phrase, and to quote it directly, he says, when Ryan runs at players, he gives them twisted blood. They don't want to be defenders anymore, which is fair enough, because they were bamboozled by the way that he used to run at them. He could go direct if he wanted to, get to the byline and get that cross in there. And it was always pinpoint accuracy as well. You don't get 632 assists without that type of pinpoint accuracy. And it's something that the modern day football we don't seem to have that anymore. Running off the ball, top speed, and being able to get that ball into the box just seems to be a dying art. That's what I would say. But Ahmad, I mean, you weren't even born in 1990, were you? Or were you?
No.
You weren't,
No.
were you? You
No,
weren't. So you missed his debut. What do you remember about Ryan Giggs then?
Yeah, honestly, like mostly I caught the years when he moved back into midfield. Because like when I started watching United, it was like around 2007, 2008, and he was in and out of the team, playing as a winger that period. But then when he moved into midfield, then that's when he started playing more and more. And honestly, whenever I watched, I don't think I appreciated how good he was, because I was still like new to watching football. I didn't really understand everything, but what I can say, like the thing that stuck with me the most was 2013. So 2013, there were two games when I was like that's insane what I was watching. First of all, it was the when we were losing to West Ham in the FA Cup. I think it was away, and Van Persie came on like the last 10 minutes, and Giggs played that ball, that insane pass to him, and then Van Persie just also the finish and control was amazing, but that pass was insane because it was last minute. You know, you had to get it perfectly, and so you're talking about a winger who has that quality to play that pass. But the thing that stuck with me the most was his performance against Real Madrid at Old Trafford. That was insane.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
insane. Honestly, when you think about it, he was 40 years old, playing center midfield against Luka Modric, against Kaká, against Cristiano, and he was running the whole game. He was literally controlling the game. At 40, he was putting in tackles. He was covering ground. He was playing those passes. He was tracking back. He was doing everything. And you're 40 years old. You're not supposed to be doing that. But yeah, like that just shows how professional he is. And another thing, because you guys touched on it, I don't get why when people talk about the best player in Premier League history, Giggs never seems to be mentioned for some reason. And I always say that, like, how can you not mention Giggs? He literally has 13 Premier League. He is the Premier League. Like, for me, he is, like, along with Cantona, for example, they are the Premier League. Like, these players, they made what the Premier League what it is right now. And he's just underrated. And I do think it has to do with what happened off the pitch, but I don't think he's appreciated enough.
It's 100% what happened off the pitch. I don't think there's any doubt in that. It's very political, and it's one of those things that, like, I'm not going to try and dive into it now. We're just talking about the player as he is, or that we remember. And I don't think he'll ever make it into that Hall of Fame. Just look at the way that he's, Manchester United don't deal with him anymore. He's not really an ambassador for Manchester United anymore, in the same way that Paul Scholes might be, Nicky Butt, Wayne Rooney, all of those guys. He's not really part of that setup. But just in terms of the player, and it was something that you were talking about there, Ahmad, there did seem to be two types of Ryan Giggs, and we obviously saw both of them, Paul, where it was the winger that was just that killed everyone, that was flying from left to right, from right to left, all over the pitch, and just, left the defenders chasing shadows. And then there was the late 30s Ryan Giggs, who moved into central midfield and was just as productive from that position, which was, when you think back about that, that's crazy. Like, who else has dropped from complete winger? The only other player that you could look at as a comparison, and they didn't have the same thing. But if you look at Gareth Bale, also Welsh, also brilliant in the Premier League. But could you imagine him going into central midfield and playing that type of role? He was instrumental, and it wasn't just he's there to make up the numbers. He was there to win challenges, mark his man, and then, as you say, play by the World Cup winning passes to the strikers up front. And all of these things, we kind of miss as fans now of Manchester United, because we haven't got any players that can do either one of those roles. So early teenager to like mid-30s as a winger, and then from mid-30s onwards as a central midfielder, he was better than anyone that we've had. It's difficult to put into words just how good that is.
Yeah, it's a testament to his footballing IQ. There's not many people that will ever be on Ryan Giggs' level of reading the game, playing the game, tempo, how to manage the tempo of a game. And when he moved back into midfield, because he did get there was a period where at United he got a bit of stick from the fans, and that's when he must have realised, I'm going to have to change my game. So Alex Ferguson used to play him behind a striker as well a little bit some games. And then he went into midfield. But yeah, that footballing IQ cannot be overestimated. Underestimated, is that the right one?
Overstated.
Whichever. The things what I remember from Ryan Giggs were, there's obviously the biggest memory which you've already played. I think almost everybody's gonna say that is the main memory with his airy chest out against Arsenal. Absolutely fantastic. But it was more so almost every big game that Ryan Giggs was involved in, derbies, Champions League games, big Champions League games, your games at Highbury, he always produced and was more often than not the best player on the pitch at that high level. And that's one thing you can't say. Ryan Giggs in that United team on that left-hand side was unbelievable. Funny is, I mentioned Champions League there. When you go around Europe and you speak to people and you wear your United shirt and things like that, everybody in Europe, older men, 60-year-old men, they all say Ryan Giggs. They all know who Giggs is. Like you said a bit earlier, Ahmad, he's Manchester United. He is Premier League. And everybody loved the way that he approached the game, attacking-wise, creativity-wise. And I think everybody, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Juventus at the time, they were all linked with going for Ryan Giggs. And I think with him being a one-man club, I think that's the reason why he has to go in to Fergie's Come Hall of Fame.
Do you remember when he almost went to Inter Milan? Do you remember all the speculation that was in the papers about him going?
Yeah.
And it looks like, there's no smoke without fire. I think it was pretty close that they were trying to get him. And Inter Milan also went for Paul Scholes. He was talking about that recently on the Good, the Bad, and the Football. He was saying that Inter Milan came in for him as well. And it was ridiculous money that they were offering players at the time, because they had those fantastic tax laws. I say fantastic. They had those tax laws where they could pay these footballers whatever they wanted. So they were picking up players from all over the place. But Giggs, as you say, he stayed, and he produced from day dot to when he finished. Obviously, he managed Manchester United for a brief period. 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, if I remember correctly, towards the end of the 2013 season.
1 draw, 1 loss.
1 draw, 1 loss, was it?
No.
Did he? I thought it was 4 games. No,
4 games. 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss.
Give it Giggs to end of season.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, of course. But my 2 favourite things about Ryan Giggs, the ones that last in the memory, is beyond the. I knew we'd all mentioned the FA Cup goal. I knew that, so that's why I played it at the beginning. But 2 things. Anyone that has ever watched Ryan Giggs play knows about how he used to tackle people. Sliding in from the
Sliding
side
in.
or from behind, winning the ball and then getting up with the ball to carry on running in the opposite direction. Poetry in motion. Absolutely loved it. Loved it
Yeah.
because it was it wasn't aggression. It was I'm taking the ball. Like it was almost like just the technical side of it. It was like wizardry. Because you don't see
Finesse.
it that often. Yeah. Yeah, you don't. It is finesse. You don't see it that often where he's like a player running down the side. Right now, they tend to either stick a toe out and miss it, and then the player's gone, or they fouled him like Casemiro does because he hasn't got the legs anymore. but Giggs used to get like alongside them, and you must have had it in your head when you're running down, and you're like, oh, he's at the side of me. I know what's going to happen now, and that humiliation of losing the ball and then watching his ass running back up the other side of the pitch.
Like, he run
do you know
away
what I
from you
mean?
then, wouldn't he? Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta chase him now. Yeah.
Exactly, and more often than not, he'd get away because they just couldn't catch you. And the other thing is, like, one of my lasting memories, or one of the things that made me love like Manchester United and get into playing football and want to be a winger in as well, just the image of him dropping shoulders left and right, big bouffant hair in that gold and yellow kit, the green and gold kit. Like, it's such a classic kit for men of a certain age, that one with the strings on it and everything. But just the way that he used to get up and down the pitch and just running at players and like, what is this? How's he doing this? How's he keep dropping people? And like you said, defenders just did not enjoy it at all. You'd be having nightmares. You'd be thinking about Ryan Giggs playing against you the following day. And what type of tactics do you put in there? Kick him. That's it.
There was
And
something.
he played during an era of the Premier League where kicking was the answer.
Yes.
That was the
Yeah.
answer. And to still produce at that level while getting booted up in the air week in, week out, just amazing for me.
There was something we used to do from corners, from when we conceded corners, wasn't there? Ryan Giggs would stay up there, and Peter Schmeichel would get the ball, and this is another reason why we fell in love with counter-attacking as Manchester United fan. Peter Schmeichel would launch a ball 40, 50 yards, and Ryan Giggs would be there. As a defender, that must have been terrifying. You're one-on-one with that lad running at you, and they'd all trip over the feet, wouldn't they? People like, oh, the defenders, because they wouldn't know where to go. He'd turn him inside out. Yeah. Honestly, unbelievable player. Any of you kids out there that are listening to this, go and watch the highlights to see what a real winger looks like.
So next up for Manchester United, it is Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, 4 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Dubai time. Interesting stat, lads. We haven't beaten Palace in the Premier League since 2023, and that was at Old Trafford. We have struggled against Crystal Palace under different managers as well. Like, it's not just Oliver Glasner who's doing a fantastic job down there. We've been beaten by pretty much any other manager that's been in charge of him. We need a big result, right, Pov? Do we need a big one?
We need a big one, whether we're going to get one or not from this team. Now, after that, I don't know, just seem to crumble, don't they? It's a tough game, that, Nathan. When we went through the fixture list last week, I think this was the one where I went draw, and it was kind of one of them reactions. I wouldn't be surprised if we got battered, to be honest with you, mate.
Right, let's end that section there. Brilliant. Fantastic.
I've said this over and over again about Crystal Palace. I think they've got 5 or 6 players that would walk into this Manchester United team. And I don't think that's unfair. Yeah, I think they've got a lot of quality, a lot of ability. They've got what we are missing at Manchester United, which is organisation, leaders, power, technical ability, passing ability. They'll control the game. The fans will get behind them because they're very, very loud. It'll be a hostile atmosphere there, and my worry is that some of these United players will bottle it. So, tough game.
I think one of the things that I look at with and I do this with a lot of teams as well. Crystal Palace are doing well in the league, and I get that. But then when you compare the wing-back options that Manchester United have to what Crystal Palace have, like Munoz and even Tariq Mitchell, who's found his form again, why are we not signing really good wing-backs like that? Munoz was quoted, wasn't he? I think while he was on international duty, as saying that Real Madrid or Manchester United would be a team that he'd love to play for, which obviously probably upset a few Palace fans. But yeah, he's the exact type of player that you would want playing wing back. But what do you think about this, Ahmad? Do you think it's a game that United should set up to win and leave themselves a bit exposed, or do you think they should be going there for a draw with a low block, hitting on the counter attack?
No way. I think we have to take into consideration that Palace are playing in the Europa League on Thursday night, and this
It's
game
only
is
in France, so it's only in France. It's only in
yeah, but
Strasbourg.
yeah, I know, but it's not about the traveling. It's about that they're gonna have just 2 days to recover because the game is gonna be on. It's a 12 p.m. kickoff on Sunday, so like they're literally gonna have like 1 day to recover. You have to take advantage of that, and if you like, I wouldn't say that we'd win
I
this
feel
game.
the reason why I'm laughing is because I feel like we've had this conversation before, like for at least 35 episodes, where we have to take advantage of something that a team has
Yeah,
done, and the following game we end up getting battered because we can't count on these bloody players. That's what I'm trying to say.
no, definitely you can't. But the thing is, like when you look at a game and you think, like Paul was saying, like, oh, it could be a draw, we could get battered. Like that's when we win the game. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think like if we win the game, I think we have to win the game. There's no other option. Like a draw, people don't realize that the last win we had was against Brighton. Like okay, we've been on this unbeaten run and whatever, but we haven't won in 3. Like you have to win this game. We're dropping points like left, right, and center.
Yeah.
It's insane. So you have to win this game no matter how they do it, but they have to win it. And I think we can. We just have to go into the game with a little bit of belief. Konya, hopefully he's back. But I don't know, those players, I don't know, like you said, you can't count on them. So I don't know what you're gonna get.
Do you think, Paul, that Xerxes should start if Cunha is back?
No, I don't think that lad should be in that team ever again. No.
We didn't talk about that during the Everton game. You think he's
No, we
you
didn't.
think he's
No.
you think he's that bad?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I don't think he's good enough. Yeah, I know. The keeper made a good save from his header. I thought he got in the first 10 minutes. I thought Tarkovsky and Keane set out their stall to kick him, and I thought he went. I thought his confidence went. I thought his passing wasn't good enough. His hold up play wasn't good enough, which is the reason why we kept going short because it wasn't sticking with him. Not good enough, Nathan. No, I
So the
wouldn't have
front
him
three
anywhere near
then.
that team.
The front three then. You're going with, if fit, Cunha up front, right wing Mbumo, left wing who?
Mason Mount.
Mount.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of think that Bruno needs to be pushed forward as well. Like we talked about this in the when we were saying that we're getting frustrated with him and the things that he's been doing. And then we said about the fact that he's playing with absolute dross around him. He is far more effective, and he showed this during the international break when he's pushed further forward. Because you don't have him in those positions trying to spray those mad passes. You just have him putting it into the box or shooting from close to the box.
More connected to
I
the
think-
striker, isn't he, there?
Exactly, and I think AFCON, as we said before, might be the time when Bruno does get pushed further forward. But unless someone comes into this side at the weekend against Palace and stakes a claim for that, for a start in 6 alongside Casemiro, it's gonna be difficult. Ahmad has learned how to use the "I'd like to talk" button, so I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you.
No, I just want to say like about on that point about Bruno being pushed up top. I think people like the idea of it more than when they actually watch it, because last season Bruno played like on one of those 10 positions, and he played in center midfield. So like he was interchanging between every other game. And every time he was pushed up front, we always said, "Okay, we're missing Bruno in center midfield." And when he is pushed up front, I don't think he has as much time on the ball. And I think Bruno needs to be on the ball, so if he is playing in one of those tens, he's gonna keep on dropping back to get the ball. He just automatically he does it. He doesn't stay up top. I think you need to drop like Cunha drops, but if you have Bruno dropping, if you have Cunha dropping, if you have Mount playing there and he drops as well. So I don't think it makes sense. And I don't think even with AFCON, I don't think Bruno's going to be pushed up top. I think that's the issue we have with Bruno, that he doesn't have a set position in the team. Up top, he doesn't.
I think when he's playing for, if you watch him against Portugal, and I know it was it Liechtenstein? I'm not allowing Paul to get on, even though he's pressed the button. Was it Liechtenstein, Armenia? Who was it that they played and they battered 9-0?
Yeah, Armenia,
so
yeah.
when you watch him and the position that he's in, obviously they're expected to win that game. Like that's not. There's no doubt about it. But when he's on Portugal duty, look at that midfield that he's playing with there. He doesn't need to come back. Doesn't need to dip back into midfield and try and get the ball, because there's players there that are doing it for him. Which is why I said at Crystal Palace, someone needs to stake a claim for, whether that's Ugarte, whether that's Mainu, whether it's someone else that we haven't even mentioned yet. Someone needs to come into that middle position and go, right, I can play alongside Casemiro. Because during AFCON, he is going to have to play higher up the pitch. Someone is. And they're going to have to do it. Go on, Paul, what are you saying?
This is why we're being linked with the Gomez from Wolves. This is exactly the reason why. Because it gives us that option to move Bruno forward, and it makes the squad thicker, doesn't it? It just fills out that sixth position. And I think that's what will happen. Bruno will then go forward. Interesting what Ahmad said, which is why I pressed the button. When Bruno does drop, we don't have enough players in this team that go the other way. And there's only Mbeumo that does it. He's literally the only player that will run in behind. And I think that's another reason why we'll be looking at Semenyo. Can you imagine him in this team now with both of those making those runs? It would cause havoc. And that's with Bruno dropping in, with Cunha dropping in. Everyone wants to come to the ball. Sesko wants to come to the ball, wants to win the click-ons. No, you need options, you need runners, and we're too easy to play against. Too easy.
Yeah. Well, let's go through the team then. The starting 11, and we'll go with who you guys think will be dropped and replaced with. Okay, so Lamens obviously is going to start. Yoro, Dillett, and Shaw. Do you think any of those guys move out? Maybe Martinez, if he's fit, comes back in.
No
Maguire?
chance.
Is Maguire fit?
Who would you bring him in for though? Maguire.
And Lenny Yoro. I dropped Lenny Yoro and I dropped Luke Shaw. I was screaming at the telly to bring the butcher on, Martinez. I think he would make such a big upgrade on Luke Shaw in that position. Luke Shaw looked shot of confidence at the weekend. He looked asleep for me. He just looked away with the fairies again. But Martinez, if he's fit and he's training, put him in and see the upgrade there. And I'd also drop Lenny Oracle. Like I said earlier, I think he's been very poor this season. When Maguire's played, and if we are going to play a deep line here, I would start Maguire and then I'll put Dillett on the right hand side.
Okay. And then stretching out obviously to the wing backs, we've got Mazraoui and Dorgu. Do we have many more options? Ahmad back at right wing back, perhaps Ahmad?
Yeah, I would put Ahmad definitely. Like, I don't know why he keeps changing that, because whenever we play well, it's Ahmad and Mbeumo on the right. Like, I don't understand the point. He tried it against Spurs and the team, I don't know, died out. And he against Forest as well. So eventually he always ends up putting Ahmad back into right back at some point in the game. So I don't know why he doesn't start with that. On the point on centre backs, I think Mazraoui should play instead of Lenny Yoro. I would play Mazraoui right centre back, and I would put Ahmad on right wing back, 100%.
I think that's a good shout, actually. Yeah, I don't hate that. Left wing back, though, what we're saying?
No
Dorgu?
one.
No one. Okay, so we're going to put one of the practice cones out.
10 minutes.
One of those
Exactly.
that you take free kicks around. We'll put one of those at left. I think I still genuinely believe that Luke Shaw should be playing there. But it would need Martinez to be able to come back and be fit enough to play there. I think Shaw has more going forward, because it's less danger when he switches off. As you say, you can't afford to have someone playing at the back that's half asleep. Going forward, maybe you can have a bit more of a languid style, but out of Dorgu, Darrow and Shaw for that left wing back position, I'd be putting Shaw there all day. It will never happen, but I'd be putting Shaw there all day. Bruno and Casemiro will most likely be the starting pair, right, against Crystal Palace. And then moving forward is a bit easier to look at. And Bruno, Cunha and Mount, I think, should be the starting three. Does anyone disagree with that?
No.
No.
I think Mount should have started against Everton. I don't know why I didn't start.
He played well as well when he came on. He did. He looked like he was at least trying to make things happen. And there's a reason why coaches love him. It's because he gets it, and he's always like 100% whenever he gets onto the pitch, and he'll always try to do something. So yeah, I think Mount on the left, Cunha up top, and Bruno on the right. That's the way that we need to go forward. We've been pretty pessimistic about the result, but I'm going to ask you anyway, Ahmad, what score do you think it's going to be?
No, I'm not pessimistic. I think we're going to win. Just because we're being pessimistic, that's why I think we're going to win. So I'm going to say 2-1 United.
Interesting.
United. I'd take a point right now. I would. I do think we'll get beat, but I'm going to go 1-1. Juan.
1-1. I think we'll get beat 2-0.
There you go. Yeah.
I think we're going to get beat 2-0. FPL pick, if anyone. I mean, there's not much for me. I'm putting Sané Lamens in there because Lamens. Mateta. I put Lamens in there because I reckon he'll probably face about 20 shots. But what do you reckon, Ahmad?
I think Buemo. Can score. So maybe Buemo. Yeah.
Bruno. Just a point there. I just want to pick up on.
Go on.
That game against Everton that we had. If you took Mateta and put him in place of Xerxes, we wouldn't have lost that game. He would have been a massive upgrade on what we've got there. Yeah.
Right, Paul, get the Gummers mailbag open again. It's that time of week.
Unzip that zipper.
Okay, unzip. Right, so the first question that I've got out of the Gummers mailbag is from Winsome, long-time listener, who says, it's a simple question, but with very complex undertones. Do you think selling Mason Greenwood, and he's put in brackets rightly so, had a bigger impact on Manchester United than we first imagined? He's only ever partially been replaced with players that are simply not as good as him. It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big one, lads. Who wants to take this first? Paul, you've got a big grin on your face. You go.
Okay. Yeah.
Delicate subject.
I don't think it's delicate. You've got to say, like you said, rightly so. We've all heard what happened. Don't want to get sued, so we won't go too much into it. As a football player, he was fantastic. We're fantastic in the youth team. I've not seen many people finish with both feet like he did. I don't think it's any coincidence that the run we went under Ollie, when Ollie got all these accolades of we were playing, signed a contract, blah, 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 was when Mason Greenwood was coming through, and he was terrifying. Made some money. And like you said, when we got rid of him, it looked like it was other issues, like Rashford having it, Cristiano Ronaldo did, all these other issues. It was simply because we were missing 20 goals from a superstar. That's what that kid was. And I have every faith that he was going to be the best striker in the world at some point. And unfortunately, down to whatever it was, well, not whatever it was, but
stupidity.
We had to cut ties. And to replace 20 Premier League goals, 30 goals a season is 150 million. And that's what he was. He was 150 million pound player. Yeah. So yeah.
A generational talent is how he's been described before. Ahmad, do you think we miss him more than we initially thought?
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I thought as soon as the issue started, I knew we were gonna miss him this much because he was a player that you can build your team around. Honestly, like I was watching him ever since he was, I don't know, 14, 15, and the youth. You always used to hear about him, about this player that can score with his right, with his left. And when he came through, he's insane. Like I'm always gonna say, and I'm gonna stick to it. I think he's the best talent coming out of the club that I've seen in like 20, 30 years. He's unreal, Greenwood. Um, I still don't completely understand what happened. Like you said, it's a delicate subject. I don't know what happened because it's very fishy the way it happened. But it's his mistake. Like he did a mistake and he has to pay for it. And I'm sure United are paying for it as well because he's a player that if you don't want to keep him, then you can sell him for like Paul said, you can sell him for like closer to 100 million. He's that kind of player. I do miss him in the team as a player. I ever since he left, I always thought like he's so stupid because he made himself and made us miss out on something really special. I keep watching him for Marseille. Like like I texted you guys the other day. I just want to see like how he's doing because yeah, he's insane. For Marseille, unreal. Honestly, this kid, right foot, left foot, and the thing with him is that he needs little to no backlift to get a shot off.
Yeah.
You know, that's insane. Like he doesn't, like he just pops his shot with his foot, with his right foot, with his left foot, and it's always on target. It's always on target, and it's always hard and low. He's insane. Like he's a player that can change a team. I don't know what's gonna happen with him, but yeah, I do miss him honestly as a player.
I don't think he will ever come back to the Premier League. I don't think that will ever happen. I think his career after that, and as Linton said, you know, rightly so, selling him, he was sold because he was toxic as well. It wasn't just to do with the incident and what was released to the press and all the story that happened with the other person, with the victim. There was stories that have come out since then about the way that they had to manage him at the club as well. And it was absolutely the right decision to get rid of him. In terms of the talent that Manchester United lost, yes, it is sad, but obviously there's a bigger thing at play here. There's more to life than football, and there's more to life than sport. But the one thing I will say is, Paul, you're absolutely right. To replace that, you're talking 120, 150 million for a striker. I don't even know who that would be in world football right now, but that's the type of thing that you're looking at. And it just happened to coincide with Rashford's dip as well. Ronaldo going, well, I think Ronaldo had already gone by that point. That, you know, there was a lot going on at the club. And our strike force hasn't been the same since. We've had Rasmus Højlund, we've had Xerxes, we've now got Sesko. There's been no consistency going forward at all. So it's been difficult, and I don't know if we have that coming through our youth team at the moment. As I keep saying, Chido Obi, where is he? What's going on? There should have been a pathway for him. Is he just not good enough now? Has he gone off the boil?
Patience.
Yeah, true.
You have to be patient.
True. I think that fairly answers that question. You had one as well, didn't you, Paul?
Yeah.
From someone?
Yeah, it probably goes back to something we covered earlier, but it was, why did Ruben Amorim refuse to change the formation once the red card happened against Everton?
I know we covered this before, but Ahmad, I'll let you take this because you, I think, had the more succinct answer for
Sorry,
it
it was from
previously.
Paolo Maldini. Paolo Maldini. Hey, belting defender. He's Paolo's. Belting.
Yeah, honestly, that's when we were talking about the Everton game. That's why I kept saying that it's on Amorim more, because once you see that the opposition got a red card, and I don't know what was the 15th minute, why not immediately take out a defender, one of the three center backs, and put a striker? Or like, I'm not gonna say a striker, just okay, put Xerxes up top and just put in Mount, put anyone in, and even when the game. Like when it was later into the game, like minute 60, 70, I don't mind. We had like, I don't know, like 50 crosses or something. I'm not sure like what the number was, but I don't mind doing that. but you have to crowd the box for it to be functional. You have to crowd the box. You don't do that thing against 10 men, but you have 3 center backs on the halfway line. That doesn't make sense. Why didn't he take, I don't know, Lenny Yoro, or even put Delict in the box, for example, the same way he would have done with Maguire. Put Delict in the box, keep him in the box for the whole I don't know, 40 minutes, like the last 40 minutes. Why not? Because Ahmad was putting in good crosses and no one was getting on the end of them. When Dello came on, he kept on cutting into his right foot and putting in like decent crosses as well. But there's no
He
one
only
like
had one. He attempted one and it failed.
Yeah.
That's his stats.
That makes sense. Makes sense. But yeah, I mean, like that's on Amran. Like, why don't you change? Put the pressure on them. Everton were so comfortable. They were so comfortable,
Yeah.
and it's a disgrace that you come out of that game and you say Everton were better than us with 11 men, but also they were better than us with 10 men, and it was at Old Trafford. I would understand if it was like, what is it called, like Dickinson Hill or whatever it's called now.
Yeah. The Dicko Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is on Amram. Like he has to take the majority of the blame. It is on him because as a manager, it's a chess game at the end of the day. Managing is a chess game. Like it's pieces that you move around based on what the opposition does, based on the circumstances, based on what happens. But if you just, I didn't see anything changing after the red card, and even like later on the game when we needed the goal so bad, I didn't see anything changing. So yeah.
I think we can kind of package it up and just say it was stubbornness. But Paul, I wanted to ask you this: in terms of not making the changes, did he really believe that the formation and the strategy that he had was enough to get them through that game? Did he feel that his 3-5-2, whatever, however you 3-5, was it 3-4-3? I don't even know
3-4-3.
how do you even,
Yeah.
how do you even describe it? That did he truly believe in his heart of hearts that 3-4-3 had enough attacking threat that it should have won that game?
He must have done because he didn't change it. He must have thought this is gonna, we'll get a goal and this is gonna be good enough. I would answer the question that it's something they've not foreseen, something they've not worked on in training. They've either not had time or they've just overlooked it, which is ridiculous at this standard, and they've just not worked on playing against 10 men. This is what's going to happen, which is not good enough. So that's why I think I said it earlier. That's why I blame that on Amorim, that part of it. But yeah, it just looked like that to me.
Fair. Can't complain about that either way. Right then, that's the end of the podcast, the end of another show, another meaty one. They always seem to be a bit meatier when we got something miserable to talk about. I would like that to change. I would prefer it if we were talking about like wins and how we look cohesive and, you know, the consistency rippling through the team. But I guess people won't bother tuning into that. They don't want to see Manchester United succeed, right? Is what I would say anyway. Anyway, if you want to sign up to the newsletter or follow us on our social channels, just go to fergiesgunpodcast.com. You'll find all of our links there. The newsletter is free. It's out every week, sometimes 2 a week. Imagine that. Get player ratings and you get something that's got a bit more insight than these podcasts, or it just goes a little bit deeper than on some of the subjects that we talked about as well. So do go to fergiesgunpodcast.com and sign up for that. That's it. I think that's everything. Unless you've got anything, you've not pressed your button there, Paul. So I can tell you've not got anything else to say.
If you want
Nah,
me to,
no, it's all right, mate.
I
It's
just
all
do
right.
it to see just to see the fury in your eyes. The only reason I do it.
Yeah, I know. It's all right. It triggers me every single time. But we will be back, and so will Paul pressing that button after the Crystal Palace game.